So the next question says to us, below shows the number of seats of the 26th South African Parliament occupied by the different political parties. Included in the table below is a number of permanent and special delegates making up the NCOP. Okay, it's the National Council of Provinces since the 7th of May 2014 elections. I want us to look at this particular table that has been given of the delegates that we have been given. So there's a bit of the question that doesn't really show, but the table is nice and clear. There's the table that we have there. Again, this is a question from Elizabeth as well. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your fantastic questions that we are dealing with over here. So we can see that this is Parliament, and it says here number of seats in Parliament for the different political parties per province. We've got the provinces up here. These are the provinces that we are working with. And if you look at it properly in terms of the provinces that we are working with, on the side here, we've got the parties, and then we've got the delegate type. So we've got permanent, special, and so on and so on. So we're going to see how we need to use that. And then as normally and as usual, we have the total happening over there. Always know how to interpret these type of questions. And then it says to us here, African National Congress. So it gives us a little key over here to know like the whole thing in terms of the abbreviation. Let's look at the first question. It says to us, state the number of KZN delegates in the NCOP. So that's the National Council of Provinces. Doesn't really matter because we are not asked to write that in full, but what we need to now say is the number of KZN delegates. Let's go see KZN. This is KZN, and all we need to do basically is add up those things in this column, the delegates in those columns, not the things, sorry. I'm going to name that 5.2.1. I'm going to say KZN. I want to write that as a capital N. KZN is equal to 4 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So that's 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 delegates over there. 5.2.2, write down in simplified form. Guys, simplified form, the ratio is always something is to something. So now I can see that I didn't leave enough space. So I'm going to start that from scratch. 5.2.2. Whenever I'm writing a ratio, I need to know it's going to be something is to something. So something is to something, okay? That's the first thing you need to know about ratios. And then the second thing is that the ratio needs to be in simplified form. So we need the ratio, it says to us here, of the total number of permanent seats to special seats. Always write it in the order that it's given in. So here it says total number of permanent seats to special seats for the ANC. So let's go to the ANC and look at permanent seats versus special seats. Does it say a particular province? No, it doesn't. So we're going to use this total over here. Permanent is 33. Special is 27. 33 is to 27. Just make that look presentable. 33 is to 27. Whenever we want to see if something is in its simplest form, you can use your calculator. In this particular case, what I want to do is use the number 3. It has to be a number that goes into both numbers without leaving a remainder. So let's see if 3 will work for both numbers. 33 divided by 3 is 11. So I'm using the same number for both sides to simplify it. 27 divided by 3. You can use trial and error if you have a bit of a problem, but because I have a bit of a trained eye and I know my factors and multiplication and multiples, I'm not having a huge problem in terms of that. 5.2.3, identify one party that has no permanent seat. So let's go see which party doesn't have any permanent seat. Permanent seats would be the seats at the top, okay, because we can see it's permanent, special, and so on and so on. Is there a party that has no permanent seat in terms of this? Let's look at this. ANC has both permanent and special. DA has permanent and special. EFF has permanent and special. IFP has permanent and special. And, here, let's look at this. I see something. IFP only has permanent. NFP only has special. UDM only has permanent. So the question is asking us who doesn't have a permanent seat. Let's go see who doesn't have a permanent seat. It has to be the NFP. And do you see how fast I was going? I needed to slow down to see exactly what it is that I am talking about. 5.2.4, since we still have the questions up here, an incomplete bar graph showing the different types of delegates representing each party in the NCOP is drawn on the answer sheet. So we don't have an answer sheet that has been given to us of that bar graph. It says to us here, on the same answer sheet, okay, that's that question over there. On the same answer sheet, complete the bar graph for the Democratic Alliance. So what I'm going to do is draw a bar graph for the Democratic Alliance, but I am not going to be answering on that particular answer sheet. And I'm doing it like this because I want you guys to see what a bar graph looks like. Let's consider this. Whenever we are asked for graphs, guys, make sure you know the different types of graphs that you have done throughout the year. Bar graph, histogram. There's a big difference between a bar graph and a histogram, and learners always confuse the two. A bar graph has spaces in between the bars. A histogram has no spaces, so the bars would touch each other. In this particular case, it's asking us, it says to us here, complete the bar graph for the Democratic Alliance. So because it's asking us for the bar graph for the Democratic Alliance, it means that we are going to draw a double bar graph. Why are we drawing a double bar graph? Because it's got the permanent and the special seats, okay? And if it was just permanent, we would have just drawn single bar graphs. I'm going to draw that bar graph so that we have an idea of what a bar graph is supposed to look like. In this particular case, it's going to be a double bar graph. It's going to be special seats and permanent seats. Let's draw this bar graph. So, first things first, whenever you are drawing a graph, it needs to have a title. You will get a mark for your title. What would this title be? Chances are the title was given already in the answer sheet, but if there was no title in the answer sheet, I would give this maybe DA delegates. Okay, so I'm assuming there's going to be the title. Second thing that you need to know about drawing a graph is that your graph needs to have an x-axis label and a y-axis label. So in this particular case, I would say here number of delegates. Guys, you get a mark. Everything that I'm writing over here, you are going to get a mark for that. Second thing, my x-axis as well. So here, it will probably just be permanent versus special. No, it would be provinces, sorry. And because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 provinces, it means that I would then go write the 9 provinces all together. The first province here for permanent is the Eastern Cape. Okay, I've got the Eastern Cape over there. So what I want to show you is how I would draw the first couple of bars. This is disturbing me a bit because it's not as straight as I would like it to be, okay, more or less. So now I want to go and draw for the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape permanent is 4, but now I'm going to use a scale of 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just an example, ne? 7. If the numbers were bigger, I would have gone up in 5s or in 10s, maybe 5, 10, 15, 20. Always look at your scale. Eastern Cape is then 4 permanent. And then Eastern Cape is 3 special. Those are the 2 bars. Let me make, yes. So you can see the difference between permanent and special. The next province is the Free State. For the Free State, permanent is 4 again. And then special for the Free State is 3 as well. So what I'm doing now is that I'm not going to complete this bar graph, but all I wanted you to see was the rules of the bar graph. First things first, in a bar graph, the first bar does not touch the y-axis. There's a space in between there. Second thing, the spaces in between need to be equal in a bar graph. You can't have one big space, one small space. Third thing about a bar graph that you need to know is that the bars need to be equal to each other. So you can't have one big bar, one small bar. The bars need to be equal to each other. The only thing that's going to be different is the height of the bars.